Has anyone told you that the MPC One is just a budget touchscreen laptop with a poorly integrated MIDI controller? And the funny thing is, the software running on this shoebox is free? Hey, welcome to this episode of Get Therapy. I'm Michael. I share my knowledge of musical gear solutions which are cheaper and better, in my opinion. And yes, today I'm gonna show you how you can replace this MPC One for free if you got a computer. Let's go. I'm always dreamed of a portable all-in-one synthesizing and sampling beat machine. I have the Roland SP404, both Model A and the recent MK2. They don't make a proper instrument sound on its own, so you always need to have some instrument or sound material on hand while using them to make music. I also have their MC101, which is on the opposite. It has too much synth sound presets, but it cannot do sampling. You see, Roland is really smart while making product line decisions. You have to pay twice to get all the features you want. I also have the beloved OP1, which has both synthesizer and sampler built in. But the workflow is way too clunky and fragile. You know, a wrong note would ruin hours of your life. But at least it looks cool, right? Yeah, that's why I purchased my MPC One. It looks so good. The classic warm and grayish looking is just so cool. Holding it in hand just feels like you are holding the entire hip-hop history. But what's the point of using a hardware groovebox? For me, it's definitely the good looking on the first sight. But after that, it all became the tactile feel and the tight control workflow. So somehow it will liberate your eyes from always seeking for the information feedback from a computer screen. But after I played with the MPC One for a while, I found it is not what I expected. Let me explain it for you. First, let's talk about the hardware design. Initially, when I saw the pictures and the videos online, I saw the MPC One can be really portable and easy to carry around, at least in my room, because it's way smaller than its big brother MPC Live and Live 2. But I was wrong. This thing is small, but it's really heavy. It weighs almost 2 times of my laptop. Moving anywhere with this in hand is not something really easy to do. This device is also really thick and chunky. Look at the thickness comparing to my laptop. I can stack 2 of them and still be thinner than this box. I think I can almost fit a pair of shoes in it. But does this thickness bring me any advantage for making music? Yeah, they put an audio interface on the back of this unit. But what about the other part, especially the room under these pads and the buttons? You might think these pads need a lot of height to work properly. Well, take a look at this pad controller from Korg. It's even thinner than my finger. You might also think these buttons need a lot of height to work properly, but they don't travel a lot, even lesser than the computer keyboard. Again, which is way thinner than this machine. You may say, okay, I admit there are a lot of space being wasted on this device, but what would those space be saved for? Do you have any better suggestion? Hell yeah! How about an internal battery, which is this small nowadays? You see, you can totally fit it in this chunky box. And I think Akai team knows it really well, but they just don't do it. Because they want to save a lot of effort on persuading you to buy the more expensive live model so they can make more money. But at least we can save the space to tilt the screen towards our face a little bit. Because when you are using the MPC One, no matter if it's on your table or your legs, the screen will always face straight up, not towards your eyes. You will always reach out to the screen like you're sneak peeking during a college exam. This is not ergonomic at all. Don't tell me just buy a stand to fix this by myself, because it should be designed onto this machine in the first place. And this tilting angle design is not what I invented. It's already in every machine model for like 14 years. And ironically, it was there in the early model of MPCs. And in 2020, the MPC One has this much empty room, and they just won't give it a try. Instead, they just deliver this chunky shoebox design to the community. Do you think MPC users are not aware enough for a better hardware design? My laptop has a 13-inch tiltable screen, and tons of buttons, and a big battery holding inside. And it is this thin. Just for reminding, this design has been out for 10 years. Even my Windows laptop has a better result. What were Akai thinking? You might think it's not fair comparing the MPC to a laptop, because MPC is MPC and computer is computer. Alright, keep that in mind. And let's see the specs of this MPC One on paper. It got quad-core ARM processor, 2GB of RAM, 4GB of storage, 9V adapter. When was the last time we described a device with these keywords? Let's see. An electric guitar. No, my guitar doesn't need to get powered, although they are called electric guitar, but those passive pickups don't need any power to work properly. Okay. Then that'll be an electric bass. No, you dumbass, it's no different with the electric guitar. Look somewhere else. What do you use to play video games? Oh, it's the PS5. Okay, it's a computer. Yes, it's a computer. The MPC One is basically just a computer cranked in this shoebox. But wait, I'm not sure if it is correct to call it a computer, because it cannot even do the most basic thing like a computer. You see, this device only has 4GB built-in storage, which would only cost you $1, including shipping. So you have to pair it with an external SD card. But what if you don't have an SD card on hand but still want to use it? Yeah, sure you can do that, but you cannot transfer any sample file without an SD card. Wait, what? I just upgraded the system from this USB port back on this unit, so I assume I can also transfer files through this port, right? No, you. Why do you even have this idea in your mind? Are you crazy? Just go buy an SD card. What? Okay, no USB file transfer. So I just bought another SD card. I guess now I'm free to do whatever I want. And I want to move the project file I created while waiting for this SD card. You know, save some space for the 4GB of internal hard drive. Man, I don't even know if it is correct to call it hard drive, because 4GB is so tiny. Even Apple would give you 64 to start with. Okay, let's see how to move my project file. Since there is a built-in touch screen, so I assume it would work just like our smartphone or tablet, right? Let me swipe it left. No. Let me swipe it right. Still no. Alright, it's long press. Still nothing. Maybe holding shift? Yet nothing. You see how dumb am I? There's a dedicated copy and delete button on this unit. You can just press this button. Still nothing. Now I'm confused. Usually with the touch screen and so many function buttons, you should be able to achieve it with those methods. Something's wrong. And after I made some research on how to move a file for the MPC One, I finally got informed. This device cannot do copy and paste files at all. You will need to open and load the project into the 2GB of RAM, then save it onto your external SD card, and then delete the project file on your internal storage, just for moving a project file. This fancy shoebox came out in 2020, which has such a big built-in touch screen and so many dedicated buttons. After 2 years of debut, still cannot copy and paste a single file on its own. Something is wrong. Am I being living under a rock for too long? I mean, the World War III won't even pull back our civilization this hard. What were Akai thinking? And this is not the only frustration while using it. When you design a tool, you want the user experience to be consistent throughout the process. And for a hardware device, it starts from how you label your function buttons. Usually we put the first function label all beneath the button and the secondary function label all above the button, or the other way around. But the design of the MPC One put all the first function label all above the function button. But for the pads, they put the first function label all below the pad, which is reversed comparing to the function button. You have to remember to switch your mind while you are finding a certain function all the time, which is really confusing while using it. Just look at the label design of MPC 2000XL, which came out in 1999. It has been carried much better than the 2020 MPC One. So the button label design is also flawed, in my opinion. And the frustration don't stop here. When you buy a hardware groovebox, what you are expecting is a really tight control, so that you will train your muscle memory to operate it lightning fast. But not on this MPC One. Since there is a dedicated touch screen, which can simulate any button pressing, they just let you do a lot of stuff purely on this touch screen, just like using an iPad, which is actually a better experience comparing to use the arrow button to navigate through the menu. But here comes the problem. With a touch screen, you will always need to use your eyes to seek for the feedback information, just like using a computer screen or a tablet screen. And the button pressing experience is also not consistent. You need to press really hard on those physical buttons, then switch to a light touch on the touch screen. It feels like I'm using a BlackBerry Q10 back in old days. And I guess we all know the story after that. Now everyone just type on their touch screen. So why buy this one instead of the iPad? Okay, what about those knobs? How well do they interact with the system? This might be the most funny part of this unit. You see, there are a lot of parameters to dial while using it, but most of them are aligned in horizontal. But the 4 Q-Link knobs aligns in vertical. The mapping is so damn weird, man. Just use your imagination. Look, even for a simple sample chopping function, you would think that with 5 knobs, you can do a lot while manipulating the sound, right? Like one for start point, and one for end point or length. And you will still have 3 knobs available for other functions, like panively, choke group, etc. Guess what? When you are in sample edit mode, all of these 4 knobs are mapped into the same parameter, which is sample start point. Bravo! Whoever came up with this design idea must be a goddamn genius. Poor MPC users don't deserve you. Please go back to whatever planet you came from. And this is just one example. After a few tries, I give up on those 4 knobs and only use the big one pairing with touchscreen. If I want to change a parameter, I just touch it and turn the big knob, which is really hilarious. Why don't I just use the touchscreen and drag on it to change a parameter, which will also save me one hand for other things. The interaction design between hardware and software is so damn lame. Why would I spend $900 for this stupid controller? For the big color screen? Hell no! The screen is really low quality. Although the resolution is high, but the color is really washed out, just like a cheap entry-level Windows laptop. For the system it's running? Man, the system running on this device is free. It's also called MPC Bees. Everyone can get it, as long as you have a Mac or PC. And with this free software MPC Bees, you can achieve almost the same amount of shortcut functions with your QWERTY keyboard. For example, Command 1 is main window, Command 2 is track view, Command 3 is program edit, Command 4 is sample edit, Command 5 is pad mixer, Command 6 is track mixer. The list just goes on and on and on. And the keyboard button pressing feel is way better than the ones on this unit, in my opinion. And I really hate this cheap click sound. And since a lot of finger drummers who just turn the full level mode on all the time, which means they just ignore the pad sensitivity and only play with the pad on and off, which is the same with the computer QWERTY keyboard, only on and off, no velocity. Then why must you use those rubber pads? Here in MPC Bees, you can change your QWERTY keyboard into 16 pads. Just press Command and P. You are all set. 4x4 keypads. See, those pads, buttons, all can be replaced by your QWERTY keyboard. And for the knobs, since they interact with the software in such a bad way, I just choose to use my trackpad and turn on the click with touch in my system, then use it as a touch screen to change a parameter value. And with this huge beautiful color screen, the parameters will not be hidden under different pages anymore. They are all in front of me, which saves me a lot of effort and time navigating different Q-Link pages. And with MPC Bees, you can do way more things than this shoebox. You can use 3 more audio warp algorithms, which this device only has the most basic 2. You can also use third-party plugins, which this box just won't let you. And most importantly, you can even move your project file with a single drag and drop for free. And Akai wants to take my money away easily just with this stupidly designed shoebox? Well, no, thank you, you mother ducker. How about I choose to stay with your free software, and you just go home to do more study on how to properly design a product in 2020s. Okay, this is my take on how to replace the MPC One for free if you got a computer. Leave a comment if you have any question. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow my Instagram and support me through Patreon. I'm Michael, and this is not gas therapy. This is the angry musical gear nerd, reminding you that you don't have to pay tons of money for a product which is not good enough. We deserve better ones, not this lazy shoebox with nostalgia finish on it. That's it. See you in the next one. Michael out. Peace. Of shit.